Two of my favorite people with the big table, Judd Hendrix and Cathy Berkey. Congratulations because it's back. COVID took you all out for, I guess, since 2019. So, how does it feel to be coming back to have the big table again this year?
We're thrilled. It feels so good to have, yeah, the community coming together after we've been apart for so long. Just bringing us together, seeing like, oh, all these people still exist in our community. Here we are.
Yeah, I think everybody's ready. I mean, everybody is ready to get back into some of these things of meeting people and being together around table, and feels like it's been a long drought from deep community work. So I think people are really excited, and yeah, we're everybody seems ready to go. So yeah, we're excited.
So, it's a big potluck. And I love your tagline. It's kind of, come hungry, leave fulfilled. It's a little bit about food, but a lot more about community and connectedness. Tell us the concept of the big table and how that started. Was that started locally? Was that a bigger concept that you all took? How did that begin?
Well, I can answer that one. So back in 2017, it was the first time that we could really see just how polarized our community was. Um, and there were a group of people that were all answering the question of how do we want to treat each other in Louisville? And so there was a group that came together called We Are Louisville. The idea of I am Louisville, you are Louisville, we are all Louisville. And there were a few different groups working on aspects of spreading that message. And Judd and I were like, well, what does it take in order to change hearts, so that people really feel like we are all Louisville? And we thought, well, people's values are based on their experiences, and their experiences are based on their lived experience. So let's give people an experience where the other isn't so far away. And we thought, well, what better way to bring people together than over food? And Judd was like, I've always wanted to host the world's largest potluck. So we just put one foot in front of the other and figured out how to do it.
So, explain the concept. So, the potluck. So, everybody brings a dish, and it's a dish that you're going to talk about because food can be revealing in ways, right, Judd?
Yeah, the what we ask people to do is bring a dish that represents their family or for their culture that has meaning for them, and then they offer that to a center table. We have four. We have a little pod. You have four tables, and you have a center food table, and it's really amazing. People are really intentional with what they choose to bring. In fact, I would say it's probably the best foodie event in Louisville, because people are really intentional with bringing a dish that represents maybe their culture or their ethnicity, or maybe it's a dish that their grandmother fixed, that it's part of their family heritage. And so there are these beautiful dishes people bring, and we put them in a center table, and then everybody gets up and just gets to share this amazing food. We ask people to bring a recipe card so you'll know what's in the dish in case you have a food allergy or something like that. But yeah, then you all eat from this center table. You go back to a small table of eight other people, and we have this little game that we play with these Louisville conversation cards that get people into connecting with each other a little bit deeper. So it's really simple. It's like a potluck. You bring a dish, share it with others, eat from other people's dishes that they bring, and then we sit and have really amazing conversation.
And that's to meet your neighbor, and that's what you're hoping for. You don't want them to be at a table where they know everybody. The point is to be and see who your neighbor is. And the last one that I went to, it was so amazing because the stories that were told, and like you said, that connectedness that you felt, and you saw all these differences at the table, but the commonalities that came out, were much more alike than we are different. And I'm assuming that's part of the experience that you're hoping for.
Yeah, it is. When we can talk about difference, when we can talk about the things that are um, different, the different opinions that we have, then we demystify it. And then we can celebrate the differences that are between us. And at the big table, we're not talking about the big issues of the day. We're not talking about the things that divide. We're talking about the people who are there and the stories that we all hold, so that we build the foundation in order to talk about those bigger issues so that we have that foundation and that we have that hope in order to address all of these, you know, big, big, tough topics of our time.
And I think that's really important to say because, I mean, it doesn't elude anybody. The fact that we are living in such a polarized time, it's you're in this camp or you're in this camp. So this is not a political discussion. This is a human discussion of
Yeah.
what our connectedness is as people, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point, Rachel. The researchers are talking about there's two kinds of polarization. There's political or ideological polarization. And in some ways that's not bad. I mean, we all have different perspectives. We all have different views. And if we can manage political polarity, then maybe some new ideas might emerge as we kind of struggle with each other's different perspectives and different ways in which we want to see laws or policy. So we're not really trying to say that it's about agreement. What we want to address is the other kind of polarization, and they call that affective polarization. And that's where we actually don't like or we mistrust someone with a different idea or position or perspective. So what we're trying to do is encourage, a lot of different ideas and people coming with who they are, their stories. What we're trying to do is mend the brokenness that happens when we actually dislike or distrust somebody that has a different perspective. So we're wanting to share stories that help us realize behind our ideology, behind our perspectives, are these lived experiences, these stories that make us human. And then we're not saying that we all need to agree when we get up from the table, but what we do want to say is that I can treat you as another human, and I may have a different perspective than you do. And I can come away from these experiences not feeling alienated, but feeling connected, not feeling distrust, but trusting you, even though we may not agree in the end, which is really not what it's about. It's about seeing each other and being human with each other so that then we can go and have, better dialogue and conversation around the issues that we may still disagree about.
I think that was beautifully said. I think that really clears up a lot of things that people might want to know before they come to something like this. You all have great stories too of friendships that have been forged from these meals. Can you share one or two of those?
Well, I know of several pods that have met many times through the years afterwards. I know of people that, gosh, I know my stepmother and dad, they invited people at their table to come up to their house in Michigan. And I don't think it ever happened, but just the fact that they went from not knowing someone to, hey, come stay with me. Um, I think that said a lot.
We even had a couple that met at the big table that ended up getting married. So
Oh, I
it
love
was one of
that.
those connections. Yeah. So it's those kinds of events that bring us together, and you never know where the connections will go. And I think that's part of the magic is, and you may see somebody walking down the street and you're like, oh my gosh, we sat at the big table. Or, you may see somebody that you work with that you didn't know that you worked with. So I think one of the powers of the big table is that there are these connections that happen, and then it makes us feel more like a community, like we belong, like the other is not a stranger. Like people in Louisville aren't strangers to me, even if you just get a little taste of it from an experience at the big table.
And one thing I don't want to forget to mention too, I mean, after COVID, I mean, in the isolation that people have felt, I'm sure that that's top of mind for you all as well with people coming out. I mean, people have struggled. It's been very tough for just about everybody. In fact, I
Yeah.
don't know of anybody it hasn't impacted in some way, obviously.
Yeah, that's one, it touches on a dream that we have of where to take the big table. I really would like to do neighborhood tables where we connect people with their neighborhood, because we've all been in our little bubbles in our houses. But let's get, our neighborhood together, and let's get the whole city together in a big table.
And
Yeah.
we're reemerging. Are you having any expectation? I know records, sometimes can be broken with these, or do you have hope, or is it let's just get out there and have good discussions?
Well, we do. It's funny. The world record that was set in India at 264. And that was set back, oh, I guess about 6 years ago.
Mhm.
We do have the largest North American potluck, so Louisville can already
Oh,
celebrate that.
good. See,
Yeah, so we can celebrate North America anyway, but
then
it would
there's
be
no
really fun.
pressure.
I really think I'm serious. I think in the next several years we really could, because it's just kind of grown because people hear about it, they
Right.
tell their friends about it. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to go back," and I really think in several years, maybe in the next couple of years, we could actually have. Just imagine that 4,000 people wrapped around this road in Iroquois Park, just a mile of tables where people are just coming. That's really the power of the vision, is that we could experience something like that.
And I love Iroquois Park. It's the perfect place for this. So that's great. Just a couple of items, housekeeping. People need to sign up. Tell folks what they need to do.
Yes, you can go to our website, thebigtable.us, and that will take you to the registration link. They need to bring a dish enough to serve 8 people, and yeah, just come open to talking with people. If you come in a group, be prepared to kind of put yourselves at different tables. They're close by each other, so but the idea is to meet other people. So if a family of 4 comes, that's half of an 8-person table. So if 2 can sit on one table and 2 can sit on another, yeah, that adds more room for exploration.
We
But
also
as you're comfortable.
We also need 200 table hosts.
Yes.
And hosting a table is really simple. We give you kind of instructions. We have this little deck of cards that you use, and you mainly just welcome people to your table. And then you play this kind of little game, helping each other, making sure everybody's included and talks. So if you're interested in hosting a table, please sign up. You can do that on the registration sheet, and we'll send you some basic informations, a little video about what you're going to do as a table host. And Rachel, I think you were a table host
My
not too
sister
long.
and I were co-hosts.
Yes.
Yes, and it was lovely. And we met such wonderful people there. We really did. And I thank you all for bringing this back and for just being the ones behind this, because it's such a wonderful concept. And we all know in the times we live in, any way we can come together in any small way is a benefit to all.
Well, Rachel, we appreciate you and all the work you've been doing with the Fraser History Museum. You all have been bringing together some really great topics and having really important conversations. So thanks for being a partner and helping us create a more welcoming and inclusive Louisville.
Well, thank you all and good luck, okay?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rachel.